So rectangles with a width of 1 centimeter are drawn from the edge of a sheet of paper that is 30 centimeters long, such that there's a 1 centimeter gap between one rectangle and the next. So 1 centimeter of rectangle, then gap. Centimeter of rectangle, gap. Centimeter of rectangle, and then there's a gap, and so on and so on. So rectangle, gap, and it's all 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. So the whole of this would be 2 centimeters, right? So, well, how many rectangles are we going to have? How many of these shaded rectangles are there going to be? Well, it's just going to be 30 divided by 2. There's going to be 15 rectangles, and there's also going to be 15 spaces. The length of the first rectangle is 21 centimeters. So this is 21. Can you do some for me? 21 centimeters. And the length of each successive rectangle is 85% of the length of the previous rectangle. So look, let's just say this is at 100%. Then that's going to be at 85%. Then what is 85% of 85%? Or then what is 85% of 85%? And you get my drift, right? So it's just decreasing. So multiply this 100 by 85%. Multiply whatever you got here by 85%, and so on and so on. So this is not a common difference, right? This is a ratio. So we are definitely dealing with a geometric sequence / series here. And the rectangles are drawn across the length of AD. Each rectangle is colored in gray, so you can imagine what the question is going to look like. Maybe calculate the area of the page that is colored in gray, or the area of the page that is white, and so on and so on. So yeah, let us get into the questions now. I'm just going to take everything off the screen. Let's get to it, and look, feel free to pause the video and try this out on your own. So look, like we said, this is a geometric sequence for now. It's a sequence because they want the length of the 10th rectangle, not the sum of everything. So we're going to use AR to the n minus 1. Remember, sequences and series is all about reading, knowing exactly what they want. Our first term, so term 1 is just going to be 21 because the length of this whole rectangle is the entire width of the page. It's 21 centimeters. Our R value is going to be 85%. You can write that as 85 over 100 or 0.85 or literally 85% if you want to plug that into your calculator, whatever floats your boat. I'm going to use a decimal. And it's the 10th rectangle, so that's going to be 10 minus 1. Plug that as is into your calculator and you will get 4.86. And look, we are dealing with measurements here, so don't forget your centimeters. And that's it. That is question 3.2.1. Okay, I'm going to erase it now. Question 3.2.2, everybody. Calculate the percentage of the paper that is colored gray. So we're going to have rectangles here, rectangle there, and so on and so on. It's just going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's converging, right? So we want to calculate the percentage of the paper that is colored gray. So we want the sum of all the gray rectangles in our numerator and in our denominator, the area of the total page. So firstly, let's calculate the area that is covered here by our gray rectangles. So we're going to use our SN formula. So SN is equal to A over 1 plus R to the N, close the bracket, over 1 minus R, right? And like we calculated, there's going to be 15 rectangles because, you know, one rectangle, one space, and so on and so on. 30 divided by 2 is equal to 15. So we want S15 here. Not a Samsung Galaxy. Haha. Terrible joke. Please laugh. Okay, so 21, that's going to be our first term. Can you do some for me? Open a bracket. 1. Is Goon School suffering from brain rot? Question mark. 1. Look, Yammer, I've made a small error there. It's meant to be a minus at the top as well. Sorry. Meant to be minus at the top. That's the formula that you're going to have in your formula sheet. And that's R to the N. Look, I know it looks like an H. Let me just rewrite it for you guys. So that's R to the N. So 21 bracket 1 minus, open a bracket 0.85, close the bracket. We want to calculate the 15th term and we close the big bracket again. That's going to be in our numerator, and our denominator is just 1 minus our R value. Our R value is again 0.85. Plug that as is into your calculator and it will give you 127.77. Okay. Centimeters squared, right? Because we just calculated the area. But now what is the total area of the piece of page? Well, this piece of paper is a rectangle. So it's just going to be length times breadth. So 21, savage, times 30. 21 times 30 is equal to 630. So this is going to be in our denominator. So we just put them over each other. We multiply by 100% to get a percentage. So it's going to be 127.77 divided by 630. This 127, it represents the colored gray rectangles. 630 represents the total area of the page. So this would be the percentage of the page that is colored gray. We can multiply that by 100 and we get 20.28%. And that's it. That's your answer.